right, everybody, welcome to the Sid City Social Club for Tuesday, December 22nd. I'm going to go ahead and put a spoiler warning on today for those of us who have seen Skylines and maybe want to talk about it. If you have not yet watched it, it's been out for 5 whole days, guys. So yeah, spoiler warning just in case. And with that, we will send it over to Sid.
Last Tuesday before Christmas, remember being giddy with excitement as a kid. It's just gonna be Christmas. I can't. If I go to sleep now, a month before, I might wake up tomorrow and it'll be Christmas. And no, you have to wait the whole month. But I'm told on some authority that Santa does deliver during COVID if Santa's your thing. So yes, Skylines came, and it's obviously it's up there with the Citizen Kanes of the world and some of the more serious, difficult movies to digest. I hope children weren't anywhere near it, and I hope you have recovered intellectually from the experience if you have seen it. If you haven't, then be prepared, bring a dictionary. You will need it. There's some big words thrown around, big concepts. But feel free to talk about it if you want to, if you have seen it. I play a character who I like to think of as sort of Snow White. There are just no dwarves, and I don't think you can call them that anymore, but that's what it used to be when I was growing up. And well, you'll see the movie if you haven't seen it, and you'll go, oh yeah, Snow White, absolutely. I'd like to know your thoughts on that. So let's get cracking before I babble on too much and make a complete idiot of myself. Well, I've already done that.
Okay, we are going to talk to Alicia and Maurice first.
Hello?
Hello!
Hey.
I've seen you here and I've never talked to you. I'm really happy to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Okay, so I was binge watching Star Trek Next Generation and Deep Space Nine over the summer, and I just finished watching Deep Space Nine. And you do this thing where you're like, I remember these actors that I used to watch when I was a kid, and you look up their names, and that is how I discovered this entire social club. And it just seems so, the feeling I got from watching the videos on YouTube, it had this sort of nostalgic, it reminds me of what it was like to connect with people on the internet back when I was in high school, like between the 90s and the early 2000s.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what it is, but there's something about it that just feels like pre-Facebook, okay? It just feels really nice, really nice.
Absolutely, it's a real analog experience,
Even though,
we sort of did it as a radio play because there's no glamorous stuff, no makeup, and no one's brushing their hair.
And I mean, even though we definitely didn't have this back in the 99, 2000, et cetera, no video, everything was slow, dial up. But
gosh, what would we have done if with the pandemic without this?
Oh, I know.
Can you imagine?
It's just crazy.
It's crazy. Whereabouts are you?
We are in Hanoi, Vietnam right now.
Well, that came out of nowhere. That's not what I expected.
We're both English teachers. I teach adults and he teaches
I teach young children.
Youngsters.
Yes.
And is it a variety of people, or sort of parents who want their children to learn how to learn English for business, and some people who want to move to America, or who are your students?
Well, for my little kids, pretty much it ranges from 4 to 5 being the youngest students, and the oldest students being upwards for 15 and 16. Pretty much English is thought of like a way for the children to be able to move forward in their life, to get like a step up. So for the young kids, I pretty much teach them like red ball and the sky is blue. And for the older students, I'm like, okay, in your own words, please explain how global warming is used to harm the planet. It's a variety. It's a constant variety. Yeah. The whole idea about using English over here is to, the betterment of the children, so they'd be able to get a better leg up.
But more opportunities.
Yeah, more opportunities.
It's perceived as being the avenue to better opportunities as they grow up. For me,
course.
I teach 16 all the way up. So I've had people who are entrepreneurs who own their own businesses, and I guess they just want to connect more with clients, and so they want to learn English. But then I also have college students and like students who are at the ending of high school, and they definitely are being pushed by their parents. And sometimes you can really tell that, because if someone is not self-motivated, you can feel it. They're just like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to learn English.
Absolutely.
I hate English, But the adults are very serious. And I say adults. I'm not trying not to make this like dichotomy between.
Listen, anyone under 30, I call a child. I just patronize everybody.
I honestly feel that I think there's times when we are most receptive to learning certain things.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm 35, he's 36.
Yep.
If I could go back in time, I would probably take a break between high school and university.
Yes.
Because I really did not enjoy myself in university. I felt tired. I was just done with all of that,
Yeah.
and if I had gotten a chance to maybe just, I don't know, travel like I'm doing now and see things, maybe I would have had a better grasp of what I wanted to do, and then I could have gone and done it. You know what I mean?
I think
so. I really
agree with you more. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I think they should actually enforce a year's gap for anybody who can afford it, and we should find ways to sponsor children to take a year's gap.
Right.
Yeah. Get a sense of the world before they start college, which is beginning of adulthood, really.
But yeah, and so I definitely feel sympathy for the students who, this is not what they're into right now. They would be better used or focused towards something else. Yeah. But then there are the ones who, I am interested in languages. I want to learn, hopefully, as many languages as I can before I die. And so when I meet people who have this passion for English, they are kindred spirits. There's something, even if they're not from the same part of the world as I am, there's a similarity, and we feel the same way about things, about finding out about different cultures and about learning about other countries. It's the same,
Yeah.
So
yeah. I love you guys being so adventurous and going to Vietnam in your 30s. Just don't know where that's going to go. And you just start going, well, we can teach.
I mean, when I was in high school, there was an alumna, okay? She came back and she had gone to Japan to teach English in a program called the JET program. Yeah. And she came back to talk to us. She had gone to the same high school and she was like, this was my experience. And, if you guys are interested, you should get into that. And I was just like, she did it. I can do it. This is something I'm going to do. And I just realized at some point in my life within the last 5 years that I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? And it just working and just living day to day and making ends meet. And
did you both obviously discussed it? You went, this is what we want to try and do. You're both obviously really adventurous. So who was it who dragged who out, and how was it adapting for the other person to go, right, okay, I'm going to figure this out?
I don't know. I guess I look at things, I research things. I'm the one who's like, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that, etc. But I don't think I say I drag.
How did it feel? I'm really curious. Because I've never been to Nam. I've never been to Hanoi, obviously. But how did it feel when you first arrived? Because it is so different looking. I mean, just from the people on the streets, the delicious smells and foods that are being cooked everywhere, the way people travel everywhere on bicycle. What is it? How did it feel to people arriving? What was it like?
You do notice the smell. That is one of, you notice that. There are stereotypes about every group of people.
Sure.
Right? But Vietnamese people are not whatever typical stereotype you might hear about Asian people in general. They remind me of New Yorkers, okay? Boisterous. Yeah. They can be very friendly. There's a Mad Max quality to Hanoi when it comes to the motorcycles. Okay? Yeah. Crossing the street is very... experience.
Yeah, you have to trust your senses and all the gods in the world if you want to get from one side to the next when crossing the street.
I've tried, so it's tropical here, right? And so it's very interesting because my family is from Barbados, right? And they immigrated. Like the climate here reminds me of Barbados. The only thing is that Barbados is an island and Hanoi is inland, so we don't get that surrounding ocean
fresh
sea, right? Yeah. And there's a pollution situation here. So you don't go to sleep with your windows open because it's crowded like New York City. Yeah. People's personalities are similar. It really is.
I know what you mean. No nonsense.
Yes, exactly. It's very much like that. And they're not, so, I mean, the only thing is, I guess they're not really used to, they're not really used to.
Wait a minute. Let me guess. What sets you apart from other people in Hanoi?
You do get people staring at you, right? I mean, he says he experiences it just as much. I don't know.
A few times, yes.
You get I don't know. There's a myriad of experiences. I've had little old ladies, okay? So again, as a New Yorker, I don't feel, I don't have a driver's license, right? I'm very used to taking the bus and the train and just navigating whatever public transportation there is. And so I'm like, oh, there's buses here. I can figure it out. We can do it. I can take the bus to work. It's not a big deal. But so I've waited at a bus stop and I've had a little old lady, okay, come up to me and she speaks to me in English, okay? And she was asking me where I was from. I mean, her English wasn't perfect, but she was, whatever it was she can speak to me with, she was doing it. And it was amazing. She even gave me some opinions about how I can learn Vietnamese. She must have been 60 something, 70 something.
Yeah.
But then and then I've had people who can't speak anything, but if they can say hi, how are you? Where are you from? And they get that, and then they smile, and then they walk away.
Oh,
right? That's great.
Yeah, sure. Because everybody. Look, we've talked a lot about in this social club people's opinions of each other on look, and I'm always screwing up. I'm always thinking someone's a woman when they're not, or someone, or whatever it is, whatever possible thing any way I can put my foot in my mouth, I do it. And it's really difficult to readjust the neurons in my brain to go, wait a minute, don't say anything until you know.
Yeah.
And there's another guy talking about micro-racism and aggressions in the Netherlands and Switzerland, where him and his family are sort of split. The thing they're sick of is, where do you come from? Because because you haven't got white skin, and it's like, really? But it's a fair question, I think. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Because we're all different people.
That's true.
Listen, I just love the fact that you're here. Welcome, both of you. Come on back
you.
all the time. I'd love to see some photos of Hanoi or where you are, if you don't mind taking a few snaps.
Okay, definitely.
I just love that. I mean, it's great. Thank you for turning up. Hurrah!
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Alicia and Maurice. Lovely to meet you all the way from Hanoi. All right, next we're going to talk to another Melissa. Melissa Salto?
Yes.
So
Very good. You're like the
hello,
only one
Melissa.
I've ever gotten that in my entire life. Hi, Sid. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
That's good.
How are you?
I'm very well as well. A little nervous.
Oh, don't be silly. What's that around your neck?
It's a necklace. My mom got it for me.
It's beautiful. It reminds me of those like stones that the Maori make in New Zealand. Very beautiful, really lovely. So where are you? What's going on?
I am near Chicago.
Okay.
I have a few questions for you.
You're welcome to ask them.
Okay. So Netflix's, as I call it, benevolent algorithm sent me to Deep Space Nine a few months ago. And of course, I binge watched it. And I've been trying to check out some of your other projects. So first question is about Lawrence After Arabia.
Yeah.
So I know there's historically, there's some question about, was Lawrence asexual? Was he homosexual? Was he tortured in prison? Was he a masochist, or both? Yeah. So I'm wondering what in the world was going on between Lawrence and Faisal.
I suspect that obviously Lawrence is probably just non-binary. Was probably. I haven't ever told anybody this, but I didn't discuss it with Rafe, but I played it as if they were lovers. I
caught on.
Yeah. That's how that's what I wanted, which clouded our judgment about what needed to be done. And I don't think he reciprocated the same sort of thing. So that's the answer to that question.
You talked about last time or some other time, that you enjoy playing the subtle romance. And that was, I rewatched it twice just to watch you guys watch each other. So is there any historical context to that? There possibly have been a relationship, or is that just what your interpretation?
I mean, apart from the fact that you just have to surmise. I mean, Lawrence was a wonderful writer and a wonderful poet, and he wrote. I mean, he was quite, by modern standards, he would definitely be non-binary. I mean, I couldn't tell you what pigeonhole he'd be in, but he would not be a straight male, a
Right.
cisgender male. And it's difficult without overgeneralizing, but he flaunted his sensitivity. He flaunted his femininity. And yet he was this rather brilliant tactician. I don't expect he was a particularly good soldier, but he was a fantastic tactician.
So I have another question. Speaking of subtle romance, Cairo Time, which I loved. I actually had a question about the bus incident. I was wondering if you would explain that to me because I was very confused.
I think I remember now. I think her actions endangered the people on the bus, because I think had she not been on the bus, it would have been much more routine. But her presence on the bus really created a tension that otherwise wouldn't necessarily have, scrutiny that wouldn't necessarily have occurred.
Wow. Okay.
That's my guess, if I'm remembering correctly.
Interesting. That's the end of my questions.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. It was really interesting to remember Lawrence After Arabia, Dangerous Man stuff, because I'd quite forgotten that. In a weird way, that probably informed Bashir quite a lot, because I'd just done that movie just a year and a half before I did Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
So I was sort of full of that sort of intrigue, that kind of double speak, that sort of strange, I'm going to do this but mean this stuff. And it was, so I got quite heady with that in that movie. But it was good fun to do. Well, thank you. And come and ask questions again if you want.
Thank you, Sid, and thank you, Mel, for organizing this. I know I've been on your end, so I know how hard it is.
Well, thank you for asking interesting questions.
There's someone on the downstairs I can hear, but can you give me a second and I'll be right back.
Absolutely. Just FYI, I'm going on about 3.5 hours of sleep right now. That's all good.
Oh, good. So really bizarre. Someone delivered a loaf of bread. Quite the weirdest thing. But my wife.
Merry Christmas! It's my Christmas present to you.
Oh,
dang it, Colin! I was gonna do that.
Is it hell?
You got it.
You look like the saint.
We are going to check in with Zoe and Kahela.
Hi.
Zoe, Kayla. Hi, guys.
I like your fuzzy sweater part too.
Yeah.
Good.
Killer sweater.
Thank you. What's going on in your world?
Well, you know, we were talking about Zoom school last time.
I'm
Finished Zoom
done.
school.
I finished yesterday.
Congratulations.
I'm really pumped about that. I'm still in the thick of Zoom school. So I'm working on my thesis.
Tell them about your thesis.
I have a great story to tell you about my thesis that has to do with you, actually.
Okay.
So I was interested in like celebrity culture and what kind of cognition in like cultural cognition. So I was narrowing it down and I found this article and it was about like parasocial relationships and they were interviewing people about what celebrities they liked and somebody was like they loved you in the Lawrence of Arabia one. They said that you were very talented and cute and they picked you. And also they talked about like a fan group you had. They were saying that a lot of celebrities do it for like
Promote stuff.
yeah, to promote themselves and to like make money. But they were like, not all celebrities are like this. Siddig El-Fadil from Snack. He's like, he wants to do it for like charity and to like get to know people. I'm like, he's literally doing that right now.
Well, thank you for mentioning it. That's a sweet thing to say. So what's your thesis?
Well, I actually narrowed it down to why celebrities can influence our behavior. And I am saying it's because of this thing called prestige bias, which is like a social learning mechanism where there's the models, which are the people who are like admired and respected.
Yeah.
And learners like to find the best model who's like the most like skillful. It's actually like the person who's the most like looked at. For one example, there's a study with like kids where there's like 2 adults and one is being observed by a bunch of other people and they'll choose like one food. The other adult will choose like other food and they'll like the kid will go for consistently the one that's being watched goes for.
I can tell you from my own personal life stories, I think that celebrity erases color to a degree. I mean, growing up, when I was your age and just a bit before, I was, stopped by police all the time. I was always called Packy or N-word if people felt like it. It kind of stopped when I started appearing on TV a lot. And people who were, I know, racists, people who normally, I mean, there are lots of different kinds of racists. There are lots of forgivable racists because they're just a bit dumb about it. They just don't know, but their heart's in the right place. And there are some people who really want to stoke hatred. They really want to make your life difficult. They really want you out. These are the worst kind, obviously. And those, had played a game of darts after a convention with a couple of fellas in one of the southern states in the USA. And we were playing darts. And then it was like I wasn't there. And they were talking about this effing and that effing, you know what the words I'm not saying.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And I was standing right there, you know, born in the country they despise, on the continent they despise. And it was like, I've had my color washed away by the TV.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it happens quite a lot. I think it's one of the things that once you're known, you're no longer a threat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Obviously, you don't have to write about that. That would be
yeah. It has to do with like what I'm looking into too. It's like he's wanting to be associated with that. Like also has its benefits. And
have you talked to Dr. Steva, Gail Steva?
No.
She's in this social group, and she is one of the I would say leading professors on this sort of subjects, fan media.
I bet she's the author of that article. Sorry,
really? Oh,
she's in this social club.
Oh, well, wow. I'm not surprised. I mean, if they were talking about you.
Might not be on right now.
I would be so embarrassed to have brought that up if she's
not here. No,
she's not here, so you're good.
I'm here paraphrasing her article.
Well, she's here most of the time. You should get in touch with her because she'll be really interesting to you. She'll definitely make it some time to chat to you about anything that you find interesting. But she's got a good mind about this stuff, and she's been doing it for years.
That's amazing. What a cool little club.
Thank you.
Cool.
So we have some stuff planned for today too.
Oh yeah, we don't want to run out of time.
We don't want to run out of time. We brought some art to show, and we've got fiddle and piano here, so we can play some music too.
Yeah.
You want to do that? That's just fantastic.
Oh, here we go.
Ta-da!
Oh my goodness.
So I like doing mostly portraits and animals. That's a charcoal one.
That's fantastic.
Thank you. That's a little one. It's actually like 2 inches high, and I did it with like a 1 millimeter felt marker.
That's Mr. Janina.
I mean,
he's a fantastic singer.
That's true. He is a fantastic singer.
You are both so talented that this is just really amazing.
Oh,
really
thank
lovely.
you. I'm like also getting into pastels and drawing flowers. So it used to like really be into like super realistic art, but I feel like I'm growing out of that. Like I want to be able to like interpret the way I see the world more. So I'm like making more colorful stuff. Yeah. I feel like as I develop my personality, my art is like getting more interesting.
And also you've got to learn your ropes. You know, you've got to do the really figurative stuff. You've got to really nail it down, getting a beautiful, strong black face like that. One of the hardest things, by the way, to draw in black and white. And you did it. And you can do that. You can go anywhere you please.
Oh, sweet. That's a dog. I'm really into watercolor now too.
Wow.
And you'll notice that Kay uses for the shading, the color on the dog is from the background, which I think is really cool.
Both of you have a fine future ahead of you.
Well, I'm glad to hear it.
You really do.
I really like drawing things with eyes, which I don't know, I guess like dogs and animals and people, because I like when I get to the eyes, like you can kind of see when it starts looking at you.
Yeah.
That's like my favorite art.
So you don't draw many shellfish?
No, I should try it. That's a self-portrait. It was for school. We had to draw a hat and having an expression. And it was really cold, so I took a picture of myself looking really grumpy.
Wow.
And I think I have one more there, which is like one of the only watercolors I've done this year so far.
You've just got the sunshine in her eyes. I mean, this is really fantastic. Really.
Thank you so much.
How are you getting to grips with the watercolor? Because it's an incredibly difficult medium to use properly.
People always say charcoal and watercolor are like the hardest to use, but they're my favorite because you have to like completely like zone out and be in the moment to use them. Like you can't think it. You just have to
exactly. You have to commit. Everything is a commitment.
Yeah. I mean, I don't believe in bad art, but Kay's always been really good.
Yeah, you are really good. Really good.
You should say you're doing commissions.
Oh, I'm not gonna advertise.
Well, I'm gonna advertise for Kay is quitting their job is going to be taking commissions next.
Yeah, that's
semester.
the next
So
goal.
I'm doing the little ad.
Fantastic. And you should, Kay, you should get a lot of people asking for your stuff because this is really top quality.
It's been a goal for a while, but this time I'm like serious. I don't want another minimum wage job.
Yeah, well, it will be a minimum wage job for a while, but it'll be one you like.
Yeah.
You know,
but I do I'm actually majoring in graphic design, so like I can get some better jobs from that too.
Yeah, you can. You can do
more
very well.
in graphic design.
This is mine. This is my art. I do art to have a silly, fun, good time. So this is Bashir's in his Riza outfit, which I personally think is the best outfit ever from past, present, or future. I literally Googled Bashir Riza outfit for sale, could not find it, but like I very much want it.
It's, if I'm not mistaken, that was filmed. Is it the one with Vanessa Williams?
People are not.
Yes. There's a scene on the beach which we shot in Malibu, in Paradise Beach, and I had gone to sleep at about 4 a.m., maybe 3:30, on a chair in a hospital because it was the night Django was born. And I went to work the next morning at 7 o'clock, just jumped in my car and just drove to Malibu and shot the scene with Vanessa Williams on the
my gosh.
Yeah, she's got to be in Riza.
Oh yeah, she's got to be on Riza.
Oh yeah.
So this is just a little segue. When I was 6, the first time that I decided to go busking.
Minimum wage.
No,
if you see a kid that cute playing the fiddle,
that is where the big bucks are. The big bucks,
sign says saving for a puppy.
So
which is another.
The big money is in being 6 years old and having a dog face cat.
You are so clever.
Yeah, and it was a bit of a scam because we ended up getting a dog for free, but. Don't tell anybody that.
Just put in parentheses another puppy.
I can't get enough.
So that's what we did growing up. Is the tie-dye in the background is our parents sell tie-dye for a living.
Yeah.
You see, I knew your parents had to be interesting. There had to be something interesting.
Our mom's a visual artist.
Their dad makes tie-dye.
Yeah, you can't bring 2 kids into the world like you guys and not be interesting people. I'd like to meet them one day. But what is they?
We were trying to convince our mom to come on because she's got a cool life story.
We were at their house and we're like, Sid would love your art. So maybe next time we're there, we will get our mom to sign up.
That's a great idea. And would your mom is she a painter?
Yeah, she does oils. She's like a artist. She does career coaching for artists now.
That's such a great hippie lifestyle.
Pretty much
everything. I don't know either because I don't know much about it. I've never been even so I've never seen all this stuff on sale.
You been to a concert?
I've been to a concert. I haven't been to a festival.
Oh yeah. We went to folk festivals.
Yeah.
That was really good because I play the fiddle. You get to see all these mega talented fiddle players.
I love the fiddle, and I've heard some really brilliant fiddlers, and I'm looking forward to listening to amazing. Yay! That's fantastic. That was just great. I mean, I could see that the chat people, I don't often get a chance to look at the chat, but people are going, awesome, fantastic, this is great.
I actually have a question, but I'm like, are we running out of time?
We're fine.
In a previous conversation, you were talking with some people about autistic Bashir headcanons. You said something about how it's harder for you to separate yourself from that character and analyze it in the way that other people do because it was, I think you said like essentially you at 27.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that's something that you bring to all the characters that you've played, or was there something about Bashir that made you connect to him in that way?
I think in the same way that I was talking a bit earlier about A Dangerous Man, another movie I made back in the day. I think if you don't bring yourself to your character, you're not really dealing with currency, a viable currency. In the same way as you playing and you drawing, you have to put everything you know into everything you do. You've got to be as generous as you possibly can with everything you've got. So all your best ideas, you just blow them up in smoke straight away. First person to ask you, give me your best idea. Never hold anything back. And then you just challenge yourself to come up with a better idea next time. So it makes absolute sense that I would put everything into Bashir as I did, and I do still. If I get a chance, sometimes the role doesn't require quite the same sort of stretch or the amount of stuff, but you still have to be generous. I look at art, for example, and I love all kinds of different artists, but one of my favorite is Cézanne.
Oh my gosh.
A kind of revolutionary to me artist. And when I look at his canvas, what he's done on paper canvas, whatever it is, I just go, God, that is everything you know on that piece of paper. Everything you know about love, everything you know about hate, everything you know about color, it's all on this piece of paper. And I bet you if I look at the next piece, I'll see more. I'll see another thing of everything you know. And then artists have to give it all every time.
You can definitely tell when people do give everything.
Yeah, and you can tell when people withholding.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, wait a minute, I feel like you're not quite giving
Getting
me...
cheated a little bit, right?
Yeah, this isn't the full picture. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you so much for your singing, your generosity. Don't stop. Obviously, you don't need to hear it from me, but it's just beautiful, both of you.
We're going to go check in with Megan, who has some, let's see, should we call it professional news?
Megan, yep. Hi, good to see you
Hey.
again.
Yeah, I last talked in late October, and I said in a few weeks I'd be done with my master's program, and I'm happy to say I'm done with it, free.
Ooh, what a big effort. Congratulations. You're brilliant.
Thank you. I'm just glad it's over. I was doing that along with working full time, so I'm glad to have at least that, only working 40 hours a week. It feels good.
Oh, gosh. Oh, Megan, that's so difficult. Well done. Very well done. You must be so relieved. Were you happy with it? With it?
Yeah, in many ways it felt a bit anticlimactic because there was no
Nothing.
It's done.
Yeah.
There wasn't even a real graduation. Instead, there was a pre-recorded video just posted on the university website with like a slideshow of our picture. So it's a bit different, but I didn't have to pay for a cap and gown, so that's nice.
Okay, good. Do you
Luckily,
have an area you're most interested in?
Yes, I particularly like the discrete maps, in particular the combinatorics. A lot of that I ended up doing in my research project.
This is fun. Yeah. Okay. Really cool. I've got a very close friend called Sergey, and he's a mathematician. We get together and we discuss music, and and we find that that we're approaching the world from different sides, from different ends, but we're meeting in the same place in the middle, and we're all really trying to both do the same thing. But he's got a fascinating field, and he's in stochastics.
Oh.
And it's just mind-boggling to me. And for those of you in the club who don't know about stochastic probabilities, it's a version of chaos, which is you've got to try and predict, for example, where drops of rain will land, or it's pollution models or traffic models or things where things are just chaotic. You can't possibly predict them, but you have to find a formula to actually predict them. So he does that, and he just got me so interested about it all. And I would love to hear more about your particular speciality.
It actually just means the study of counting. I learned how to count good. Some people, myself included, would say it's just an excuse to play a lot of Tetris, because my project actually used a lot of the ideas thereof. If you have a particular shape, how many possible ways could you uniquely arrange it on a grid? That's one such combinatorics question.
Wow. Okay. So that is complicated, because that goes up very, very quick. That gets very steep indeed once you start dealing in slightly larger, more complicated situations.
Oh, yes. If I had a free piece polynomial called a trinomial, it's kind of like a Tetris piece, but only free of squares. And I was trying to fill a 3x5 grid. There's 62 unique combinations. But when I go to like a 3x27 grid, I have over 1 billion combinations. So it does get absurd very quickly.
Wow. Is this the field that would lead you to deal with, for example, very large prime numbers?
Those are primarily done in number theory, a different branch, but also one that I enjoy.
Because that's where a lot of people make a lot of mathematical cash out of that stuff, coming up with encryption software.
Oh, yes. One of the largest hirers of mathematicians in America is NSA. They really do like them for their cryptography.
Yeah. When you sit down and look at a problem, what is the most exciting kind of problem you can look at? Is it a problem that no one's figured out, or one that you'd like? How do you approach it? All your life so far, you've been examined, and now you're about to reach a place where you are not being examined anymore. You are being relied on to expose truth for other people, to help research.
I'd say it's best to actually start with problems that you know both the answer and ways of getting towards that answer, and then build from there on questions that are only a little bit beyond what you currently already know, and kind of scaffold yourself towards something new.
Yeah. When you sit down and look at a problem, do you go into a zone? Is it like, I'm trying to equate it to something that that I will understand, like painting or something like that.
I like to say that I'm throwing math spaghetti at the wall when I'm trying to figure out a new problem. I've got these large whiteboards that I'll look at, and I will just throw theorems, definitions, and the ways that I go at it are not 99% of it's going to be garbage that I'm going to erase later, but eventually something along that line gets you there. It also sometimes helps to start at the end result and try to work backwards, and sometimes you end up meeting in the middle there.
Yeah. I'm staggered about how many talented people we have here working and hanging out in our social club. You're also off the charts. I mean, really, it's really quite wonderful. What you are doing is as beautiful as folk song fiddling we just heard, or beautiful art. I mean, it requires your generosity, it requires your time, and it requires your passion, and it just is it's like different planets, people from different planets, and I quite like that. Kind of interesting how we can give each other, so we can exchange these gifts, and I like that. I really love that. So I'm really curious about all this stuff you're doing.
It is funny that you say that, because honestly, a lot of the artistic places, a lot of the language, I'm terrible at that. I mean, it took me years just to get coherent in my own native language here. So it amazes me when people are able to write large papers, perform arts and music. I think that's a lot tougher than doing math.
I don't think so. I think we're all doing the same thing. And we just found out the way we feel comfortable doing it, which is kind of cool. We're all trying to find the truth, and that is exposed through art or through maths or through science. I mean, through one of the medical sciences, or you name it. It just doesn't matter. What's that song? I don't care how you get here, just get here if you can. Now, how are you going to celebrate?
I suppose on the day of the graduation, I took the day off from work, ordered 2 bottles of wine online, and I looked at the slideshow YouTube PowerPoint.
You know how to live. That's great. Do you get YouTube obsessed? Do you go down rabbit holes on YouTube?
Yes, I ended up spending hours just looking at the history of no longer functional theme parks. That was one rabbit hole I went, like, it'll just be out of completely different things. I saw one series just on xenobiology, a hypothetical alien world. You never know what you'll fall under.
I've gone through many different phases during COVID, but then I'm weird because I like to go into stores that sell just one thing, just screws. That's all they sell is screws or ribbon. I love stores that just sell ribbon, you name it, but I love specialty things. So I get obsessed by those things. I love that stuff. Costco is a bit overwhelming because it sells everything from everywhere. And if you don't know what Costco is because you're in some other country, apart from America, it's a warehouse full of anything they can sell. Every time I go, I think, well, I've just got this, this, and this. And I look at the thing and it's, oh, that's $270. But I only bought this. And there's this and then but you don't realize that you've bought 400 rolls of toilet paper. You've bought enough Worcestershire sauce for 15 families. So I wonder and accumulate because I go, oh, these are interesting golf balls. Oh, look, this is a thing that makes ice. And I never use them. They just sit there. They're nothing to do with my life at all anymore. And I bought candy. I'll tell you what, I'll show you. I bought some candy. This will give people a good idea. I bought one bag of candy. It cost $13. All right. It was called Fun House or something. I've got it here. I mean, I had to open it. It was like a sack of candy. Can you see all these? Can you see how much candy there is here? This is just one bag. I had to separate it all because it's just too overwhelming. Too much stuff. I just wanted some candy. Anyway. That's the United States of America for you right there. You can't do that in any other country, I don't think.
That's great.
So I want to know what country in the world, when you dream of traveling, if you dream of traveling at all, but if you don't, you're going to have to hypothesize. What would it be and why or where?
But I think if I was to pick one, it'd probably be Britain. It would be nice to go over there, check out the sites. I really love museums, and they really have great museums in London.
They do. They have pretty astonishing museums in London, in beautiful buildings too. I mean, really. Whoa. Do you have any ambitions to travel?
It would be nice in the hypothetical. Sometimes, I guess I would always have an issue of knowing, okay, now where do I go? Maybe I would need to package like a tour guide or something.
You'll always have friends in different countries, especially because of something like this social club. There'll be people in the UK who are here who will be like, I'll tell you where to go. And, I might even meet you for a cup of tea or a coffee.
In the nice post-2020 future, that would be really nice.
Yeah. Well, I'm really, really happy that you that you finished your thesis, and I'm dying to hear what you decide to do next. And I'm hoping that you get the job, the tutorial job, and if not, I hope you get your second job idea, so that you can maybe stop working full time and doing something else at the same time, which is crazy.
I'll know by around April.
Well, fingers crossed, toes crossed.
All right, we are going to go talk to Janina in Germany. It's way past her bedtime.
Oh dear, it is way past your bedtime, Janina.
Is it?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what your bedtime is.
Nobody knows.
No. I mean, there's a bunch of people here in Europe who are still up at whatever AM it is, 4 or 5. How are you? Much more important.
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Yeah. What's that in the background? I can see a saying, I will go with you even on the baths of the dead and to whatever end they may lead. Is that right?
Yep.
Ooh. Is that Tolkien? I'm trying to figure out what that is.
It is.
Brilliant. I've got some hints, some graphic hints there, so I couldn't go too far wrong. Great. Oh, brilliant. So yes, we've talked before.
Yeah, we did.
We did.
Before we went into lockdown.
Yes. And it's all kicked off again, hasn't it?
Yeah, it totally has.
How are you? Are you okay?
Yeah. Holding on.
Yeah.
Still alive.
Yeah. Good. How's your family? Everybody is, because I know it's really depressing to get a sense of freedom and suddenly have it all taken away again.
Yeah, but most of them are all right. My brother was the only one working still, and he was on excavations in the area. So he was fine because he was just outside digging in the mud. He was just cold.
I worry, I worry about money for people, because I mean, a lot of us put a big brave face on it, but it must be really hard, because I'm finding it hard, and I'm relatively well off, at least I think I am. I know that some people just have none at all. And I just want to know, I kind of do get concerned about that.
I don't have any job anymore until our museum opens again. So we've been laid off, which I can understand because they have to pay the full-time employees. But I can, at the moment, ask my parents. And I hope that I can apply for something from the state. But the students who usually get bonuses, which I don't, they get cash and the rest can take a credit. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. Because paying that back is way more annoying.
Yeah, absolutely.
But at least it gives us time.
It does. Do you have the same issues there that they're beginning to have in the States, of really huge food lines, people waiting?
No, thankfully we don't. We had the same toilet paper situation because people go mental about that, and I don't get it.
In my head, I bought more toilet paper. I was in Costco. I was like, I better buy the toilet paper because this might run out any minute now. So if you're, by the way, do you play games? Do you get online with friends? Do you do sort of D&D kind of stuff?
Not at the moment, because everyone has weird schedules at the moment. Sleep schedules, mostly. So I just paint. I've become a person who scribbles all over the walls.
Did you show some of your painting last time?
Yeah, the DS9 thing.
That's right. A wall.
Then I went nuts on every other wall I have.
Oh my goodness, you are going to town. That's great though.
Yeah, I showed that one to one of my friends first, and his comment was, "You're going a bit down the Memento Mori line, don't you?" And I realized, maybe I should make it a bit more happy.
Wow, that's great.
Happens when you have too much time on your hand.
It does.
And you need distractions.
Wow. These are beautiful. They're really cool.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, they really are. They're fantastic. This is great. Your house is just going to be so lovely.
Way too many quotes. I'm telling you, there's
a lot of reading to do, but that's great because oftentimes you just want to sit down and, I think you should always have plenty to read in a lavatory, for example. Everybody should have.
That one I can't paint. Yeah, that's the outlier, sort of timeline.
Wow, my glasses aren't strong enough. Hang on.
My scripture is also not good enough. It's a bit of a scroll.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I get it. Wow. Yeah, it's like a flow chart.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
That's where we're at. Do you draw another line every day?
Nope, I have a blue line underneath that you can't see at the moment, and then there's a purple line underneath. So if it works out, it'll run until April. So sort of
amazing.
The year.
Yeah, it'll be a year. Golly, that's great. Oh, thank you. I'll tell you what happened when I was, because my agent asked me back in the day if I wanted to go up for one of the parts in Lord of the Rings. Fat chance of getting it, but nevertheless, that was one of the things and they wanted me to play Boromir?
Sid, you're thinking of Aragorn.
Aragorn, sorry, name's not good on proper nouns. So anyway, Aragorn is the guy they were trying to get me to look at. And I said, I think I look elven. And I think that elves should be the colors of the forest. And they can be brown and all colors. And but the director said absolutely not. His vision is that all the elves are white.
With adaptation, I think it's such a dumb argument because you can do anything with an adaptation. You don't have to cast book appropriate or whatever one wants to call it.
Yeah, I loved that. I would have loved to play that role. I played the Hobbit computer game online forever, and I always identify with the elves. So they're the guys because I like, shoot an arrow. That's going to be fun. Much better than swinging an axe. Carrying an axe around, what a drag. But a bow, no problem. And I just love all the magic stuff that they do. And I think the whole thing is their vibe I like. very much, especially Tolkien's version of their vibe. I like very much because they all seem to be very young, but they're very ancient, and I like that element. So what are you going to do next? So now you've painted all the walls, you're going to have to come up with something.
Right. I don't know. I have one ring left, but then I really don't have any walls.
You are running out of wall space. But your place looks fantastic, it has to be said. It looks really lovely. This is a rental, so you're going to have to just white it all over one day.
Don't say that. I don't want to move out. No, I can't paint the ceiling, guys, because it's wooden. I'll get murdered if I've touched the ceiling.
What looked like to me like bunches of grapes hanging on the background, high above the teal.
Oh no, those are masks. Porcelain masks. From a neat little fisher town close to Venice.
Wow, lovely. Okay, yeah. I'm beginning to put the picture together now. Venice, masks, is what they do. And
that wall is sort of the clutter wall, memorabilia and stuff.
It doesn't look cluttered, to be honest. It looks. You want to see cluttered? I have to show you around my place one day, and you'll go, "What the? How much Costco stuff can he possibly fit into his house?"
As long as it's not only candy.
It's just junk. It's really funny. What would you like to get into?
It's a good question because I honestly don't know. I am doing an MA degree in English and American Studies, which kind of won't lead anywhere probably, but it's the backup plan because I initially wanted to become a carpenter, but I can't.
I love that. Why can't you become a carpenter?
Because that elbow it won't hold up.
Yes, of course.
That's just gone basically.
What you never really, just a brief word of advice, but you never want a backup plan that's never going to happen. The whole point of a backup plan is that it actually happens, and if the other thing doesn't happen, you can rely on the backup plan. When you have no backup plan, it's not a backup plan.
my current plan C is get stuck in the museum and stay there, because that place won't at least fall down.
That is
if they fix it up.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I can't remember what you said the MA was in.
English and American Studies. Which must sound weird to any English-speaking person.
No, that sounds like a smart thing to be doing, actually. And that's pretty much covered that whole capitalist culture squared away. Would you be in terms of like business or linguistics or how?
Oh no, I tried linguistics. We have to do one module that's mandatory. And I managed to wheedle in Tolkien and history into that to make it sort of okay. But I'm just shit at linguistics. Sorry.
That's all right. All the kids gone to bed.
Yeah. If anything, probably tourism or anything like that, or history, international.
Well, you're great in tourism because you're charming. But if you've got, it seems that the museum world, if you get a diploma, degree, some kind of thing that's involved in that world, then that gets you into that world more, and from a much more qualified point of view that might make you really happy.
I've never seen it happen anymore because nowadays you either have a really good degree or you already have a leg in one museum.
Right.
It's not really, or you have to be really specified on something that they want you. Because half the history degrees go for museums.
Yes, that's for sure. But there's a way of starting something online. You basically show your curatorial skills by putting together something online, exhibitions, ideas, things that you don't need permission for. You can just get people to just give them a curated experience, which is what the point of museums is. And that could be your leg in.
True. Yeah. Oh, thanks for the idea.
It's might be fun. It might be fun because you've got a creative side to you that might be just like that kills two birds with one stone. So you can just put together the things that you love and start honing down what they mean and what the point of them is in a curated exhibition, and then how to present them. Obviously, you've got all this technology now that is relatively free, the apps and stuff. As long as you can get online, you can, and you've got the time, you can put together amazing things, the things you love.
At the moment, I don't know what it's going to look like after the pandemic. I usually manage students that start here, international students. Yeah. And usually we only have a bunch of 20 people coming in. But 20 people means at least 100 males a week. And some of them are a bit dicey because it's a culture shock for them to come here. Suddenly they have to deal with bureaucracy in a very German sense of way.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I've never really experienced it. I do love Germany, though. I do love Germans as well. I don't mind generalizing that with that generalization. I think they've done something that they could teach the rest of the world, especially how to get through some difficult periods and how to come out the other side. There's a big lesson for the world in that. It's a struggle to keep going, but it's been, I mean, as a nation, you've done really well coming out of all the horrors of that 1940s and that period, and then being genuinely contrite and genuinely sorry, and then saying, well, watch this, we're going to teach our children that a different way. And I thought that was pretty magnificent. That's from a humble outside point of view, from a British point of view. I thought that was pretty astonishing, pretty great as for a nation to do.
I bet our history teachers would vehemently disagree at the moment.
Yeah,
because we have an issue with extremism.
I know, but that's a slide back. I mean, that's a bit like a second surge of COVID. You know, you try to get the first one down, and the second one, it's harder when extremism is being fed from outside. You know, from inside, nothing would be happening. It would be just shut down. But there's so much support from outside that they're getting more. I'm finding it in the States. They're getting more brave about being, because they're getting so much help. But I'm still really impressed. It's good stories of hope and change in the world, and I think we can all take some comfort from it. And hopefully, if my master plan comes together, where everybody next year falls in love, who knows? Anything could happen. But I'm working on it. That's top secret, by the way.
I won't tell.
Thank you.
I do have a question, by the way. And I'm sorry that I have to bring up your recipe again.
Oh, God.
But there was a phrase in there that everyone was wondering about. What does bung on a life mean? Is that a typo?
Bung on a life?
Yeah.
Bung on a life. I'm trying to make something up, but I can't think of it. So obviously bung is throw. So bung on a life. I don't know. What's the context?
It was very much the end of the recipe. We were wondering if it was thrown on a plate. On the last slide.
I wonder if it's a typo in the thing that I had nothing to do with, because that makes, it's not a phrase I often use, bung on a life. I see it there. Yeah, absolutely. Cheese, bung, your favorite cheese, bung on a life, and gather round the telly. Oh, yeah, being all colloquial, Sid, I mean, amazing. That is definitely a colloquialism. I mean, definitely a typo. I'm trying to think what it would be.
Bung on a plate? Bung it on a plate?
Yeah, it probably more like something to do with watching the show, you know. Gosh, that's frustrating. I don't know. I'm so sorry. I do not know. But you know what? It's as incomprehensible as the recipe itself. So it's only fitting that it is surreal and makes no sense.
Is life supposed to be knife?
God, I do not know. It makes no sense. I think that whoever wrote this down to spite me made it nonsensical as well. It's like, I am going to make him sound intolerably insane.
If it's any consolation, it tastes okay.
It actually isn't terrible. That's the whole point. If you have, as a student with no money, we could afford that. We could put that together. So it wasn't disgusting. We didn't look forward to it. Good question though. Bung on a life. That could be the title of my autobiography.
Then you have to explain it again.
Thank you.
Oh, so many good questions tonight, everybody. Well done. Well done.
Merry Christmas to everyone.
Happy holidays.
Yes. Have a great holiday, everybody, and we will see you next week.
Happy holidays. Be safe, everybody.
Be careful.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Holidays.
Happy holidays.
Get Mel and Sid.